Hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie Leahy, here with my co-host, Matty B. We'll see how long the show even goes. I'm running late on a heater here. We had a softball game that went into extra time. And, dude, I was on today. Like, what is this, game 3 or something? I am, it took that long for me to, like, get caught up batting-wise. Fielding, still a little bit iffy. Because I've noticed that the softball, I think I might have talked about this on a different show. I feel like the softball carries a little bit further than a baseball. And maybe I'm just like making it up because I haven't played for such a long time. So there will be like a pop-up and I'm like, that's not going to make it near me. And then it will be over my head and I'll be like, what the heck? And it's like last game, there was like a ground ball and I thought, I was running hard. I thought, I can get to this. And in my mind, I was able to make the play, but my body was not able to make the play. So I ended up like a last-ditch slide. And I think I might have mentioned this last week. Although maybe I don't even know when we did the show. So like I hit the dirt thinking, oh, this is going to be soft. It was like concrete. So I'm all scraped up still like a week later. And tonight, we did a little bit of batting practice before the game because I've noticed that in like the first couple of games, I've only played fast pitch softball. I've talked about it on the show before, like one charity game. Everything else has been baseball. And you're not doing like a modified slow pitch where it has to be, it's not like you lob the ball up. It has to be like 6 foot or something. So it's almost like a fast pitch and they do it like quick where you have to like, you're tossing it. So like once you're in the box, like it could go. And I've noticed, like, I've just been a little bit out in front of it. So today, I just sat back. I crushed one off the fence. Or at least I think it hit the fence. Like, I got a triple on it. Like, I thought I didn't think I got enough of it. When I saw the guy turn and run, I thought, like, oh, he's going to make the play. I might have popped it up. But then I'm like, just keep running. And then I was cramping up. Like, I always watched, like, sports and when I was younger, I never cramped up. But now I know why old guys are like cramping up. Because I legit drank, oh man, what's that powder stuff? I always forget the show. Whatever the hydration thing is. It's not like Propel packets or whatever. But I've
like
drank
liquid
IV, that's what it is. I drank one of those before the game because I thought, I'm going to stretch out. I'm starting to do like some more yoga because I've noticed like my core gets really sore after the games. And we have 2 games this week. So I've been like prepping, drinking a ton of water. I still like a triple out, and then I'm like cramping up, and I'm like, please don't put me in a position where I have to like sprint home, like make a play at the plate, and I'm like coming up lame, and they'll be like, that guy he got one good hit all year, he's already hurt. But then, because last week I thought that they gave me the intentional walk, like unintentional, like they don't do like, hey, intentional walk, we're gonna let the guy go. They have to pitch it, right? The guy threw 4 straight balls like so ridiculously far outside that I was talking and they're like, dude, I don't want to walk. Like I was thinking like if I was actually hitting like I did tonight, I would have probably tried to hit one, like like took a step and tried to hit it in the opposite field and see if the official would be like, bro, you can't step across the plate like that. But I would have been like, oh, at least I'm trying to hit the ball. Like I don't want to walk. But today, they were like, whoa, shift, the big lefty up, shift. So their left fielder ran all the way across the field to right field. And I was like, they're switching positions when I'm giving up to bat. Like they flip-flopped. They must have had all their best guys like where the people usually hit it. So they flip-flopped the first time after I hit the fence. They had, I don't even know if they shifted or what, but they flip-flopped the one guy. Then they flip-flopped and everyone went back to the fence. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm not trying to hit it up, right? So I'm just going to line it. I lined it right down the first baseline, like into the outfield. Like I could have got another double or whatever, but the bases were loaded. So I got held up. So I stayed at like, I'm like, dude, I felt like a good rip. So the next time up, they did a full-on shift. Like everybody was from second baseman over. And they had like one guy on the other side of the field. And I thought, this is the most ridiculous Barry Bonds type shift I've ever seen. So, of course, I just thought, well, I was at batting practice just sitting. So I'm like, I'll just sit and take it right up the middle. So that's what I did the last 2 at-bats. And they were like, wow, you're roping the ball today. I said, bro, they had a shift on. All I have to do is just wait, and then just flick the ball out, and it goes right up the middle. There's no one there. Like, I could do a modified bunt over the pitcher because they have like a screen to protect the pitcher. That if you line the screen, I think I talked about this, it's a foul ball, or you can strike out that way. Because two fouls is a strikeout. Like they try to do like really fast. So like you're running out of the dugout. There's an hour timer. That's why today it went over the hour timer. We went into extras because we were down. Like we lost by like 1 run, and we got the bases. Well, I got us back because I ripped it up the middle. I thought, dude, I can just like the first game when I lined out the first end of the game, I felt bad. Today, I thought I was walking up to the plate and I saw them run like their entire team over, and I thought, dude, I'm ripping a base hit here. I'm gonna get some runs in. I'm gonna get us down within like 1 or 2 or whatever it was. Because I think I scored the run to get us within 1. I scored like 3 times today. But I thought, this is good. It's like playing wiffle ball. Everyone like shifts over. Like get
so,
back.
Did they have like the full-on catcher's equipment?
No, they're doing a new. I don't know if they had it last year. They're doing a new non-contact where they changed it where you don't run to home. They have a second home plate, and they're doing it like a force out. I guess someone got hurt pretty bad. I thought someone told me that it was like the very first game of the year. There was like a huge collision at home, and so they got rid of that in the league. So the catcher is kind of just there. But you can slide into other bases. We did get a guy out on first because there's like the safety bag, like the orange bag that like a lot of youth has now. And I think even college games might have it, where you run through that bag when you're going to first, and then you have to stand on the regular bag. Well, the guy, there's like a pop-up or something, and instead of him, he went back to that bag and then jumped and stood on the orange bag. So we tagged him, and then they're like, "You're out, buddy." They're like,
that happened in a college game too. A guy was just standing on the orange bag, like, that doesn't work.
And they're arguing, and I thought, no, that has to be the rule, right? I'm like arguing out there, and I'm like, why am I arguing? I'm like gonna get in trouble here. Me and the one guy, we're like explaining the rules. I'm like, this makes most sense to me if we do this. I still don't know how the official. There's only one official out there, and I felt bad because our third baseman did like a crazy like dramatic tag right on third. They called the guy out because he was screened where it looked like with his gigantic tag that he got him like with plenty of time. He missed a tag by like a good 2 feet, like to the left of the runner. Like guy slid into the inside of the bag and his mitt, I guess it was maybe like a foot. And so it was clear from where I was playing on second that like we didn't tag that guy at all. Then I thought there was going to be a fight, but I'm like, yeah, it has to be hard when there's only one official, right? And they do have all the other officials, so I'm surprised. I don't know why they just don't have 2. Because that was my worry too. Like some of the ones that have been up by the fence, you can't really tell if they're like fence, if it could bounce over. Because I've hit balls before, like where they've bounced over, and even mine today could have bounced over, and I wouldn't have known, right? Because like you're running, you don't know. And they don't have a guy out there far enough to see. So I don't know. But that's why I'm late. And I come back thinking, dude, that Aaron Rodgers might be a Pittsburgh Steeler. I don't even know if I should name this because I get my news from CTESPN AB. He's been saying for weeks that the Aaron Rodgers deal is done. And it's been done for a while. Well, the one thing that came up is Rooney, the owner, Steelers owner, said that things are trending in the right direction, and he thinks that a deal with Aaron Rodgers is imminent. And I thought, man, I'm going to get back from my game. I'm going to have 30 texts about Aaron Rodgers and how the next year is going to be it's either going to be the best thing ever or it's going to be like hot garbage, right? I don't think there's a middle ground where people are like, hey, we'll see what happens. It's like everyone's either going to be excited or they're going to hate it. So, I don't know. That's the one thing that I'm a little worried with the Aaron Rodgers thing. It's like you're getting him, you could be excited, but you know it's only for 1 year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get 2. Do you?
I mean, I think part of it's going to depend on how well they play if he signs. Like, to me, he's already throwing. There's video of him throwing with DK Metcalf that it's plausible that he signs, and if he does, depending on the receivers and the type of year that he has, like if he can maintain his health throughout the season, I could see him still playing another 2 years or so.
I mean, I guess he did miss that 1 year because he got hurt. As long as he doesn't have any major injuries, but that's always a risk. So I'll say this: if you get Aaron Rodgers, if you're the GM, you draft a QB round 1.
Yes, like I don't think that they're in a luxury of putting themselves in the spot where you say, like, yes, we need to be loyal to you, because very easily he could get injured in his first series, and then if you don't have a plan B, then Mason Rudolph's riding high in the saddle.
Well, do you think that that's the holdup?
It might be.
Because the other place is the Vikings, but they have JJ. And
well,
honestly,
it also might be that he's trying to leverage who else he wants on the team, too.
Yeah, that could be. Because he does have rapport with some of the guys. But if it's like Devontae Adams, but he signed with the Rams, didn't he? So, like, who's out there? Lazard? Did he sign?
I think.
Unless he's bringing back AB. Could you imagine? They could do they could do a podcast together.
Crazier things have happened.
That would be a killer room, though. I mean, AB's not that old, right? He's younger than Hopkins, I think.
There's no way that they would bring him back.
You say that now? Pittsburgh fans are out for blood, bro. Pirates ain't it. Penguins ain't it. Steelers are it. They're like the only game in town. It's like the mid-2000s, right? Before they got Sid. Maybe it was early 2000s. Once the Penguins came back, I don't know. I haven't been keeping an eye on them, but that's what I'm saying. That there are positive signs that Aaron Rodgers will join the Steelers. Owner Art Rooney said. And then players are calling out Mason Rudolph already. So it's just perfect time for Big Ben to come back. Well, it's like whenever they talked about who were they trying to bring back that 1 year, like Phil Rivers or something. They're like, hey, we want to come quarterback if we make the playoffs and our guys hurt. And I'm like, that has to be the quarterback dream, right? I've been so close. How come I can't do it? And then they're like, hey, you want to come do this? I think it was the 49ers that 1 year. And now they're in on Brock Purdy. And did you see their owner? Like, he had like a mini rant about, hey, we can't sign every guy. And I already don't like that guy because of how he plays the media, like against Harbaugh back in the day. So he's the reason that people were negative about Harbaugh to begin with. Notice how the Chargers don't have any issues with him, right? Like, oh, what a miracle. No one at Michigan really had any issues with him. It was other teams complaining about Harbaugh. But then, like, you go into the 49ers organization, and then their owners like complaining about, well, I can't sign everybody. I'm trying to keep Brock Purdy. That's our guy, which I think is a bad move. I don't think he'll be anything other than like a mid-tier quarterback. Do you?
I mean, he may not.
That team was loaded. You don't keep the guy that benefited from a loaded team.
But at this point, I don't know what the better option would be. Like, I think he's still.
That's where you should have wanted your boy Jameis to go when they were loaded.
No, I want him to be in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but you know he would have won there. They might have won the Super Bowl.
He would have won the Super Bowl in Pittsburgh.
Oh, it's our running game. What are you talking about?
We don't need a running game. We have all kinds of receivers. We're just throwing the ball.
Now,
just throw it up deep and let Metcalf and Pickens catch it.
Hey, bro, I'll keep tweeting at him when New York season starts and he's not playing. I'll say, bro, you could have been in Pittsburgh, man. If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come and Mason Rudolph's QBing, we'll have to let him hear it. Think I'll get blocked?
Is that your goal?
Nah, I just want a response from him, bro. I want to know why he didn't choose Pittsburgh. Isn't that all you want to know? I'm looking out
That's
for
all
you.
I want to.
Maybe he'll retire and he can be an advisor at Florida State NIL group. Right?
Maybe.
That could be his next job. Maybe he wants to get into coaching. Get some exposure in New York. Watch Russell Wilson implode.
Well, signing in New York would be good because that would be better for his TV career.
He can just do like those guys that go to LA and then they're just magically on TV.
Yeah. I'm sure that's probably part of like the rationale there.
Maybe. He could have
like go to Pittsburgh and just be cold and miserable all the time. You can go to New York and just be on TV.
He could have went to the Raiders though. They need some big time personalities for that organization in Las Vegas, dude. They don't have anything now. It's kind of embarrassing. But I don't know if that's true or not, right? I'm just kind of winging it. Let's see. Any other NFL stuff you want to talk about? Oh, we're on it. Quarterbacking? Anything?
Well, not even so much NFL, but UFL. Back in full swing.
Oh yeah, did that go?
Yeah, it started this weekend.
Did you watch any games?
Yeah, I watched this. I missed the Friday night game where the Brahmas started, but I saw the Birmingham game, Birmingham DC, and drawing a blank on the other one. But I saw both.
That's the one thing that I get a little bit annoyed with, right? Because they started this season right in the middle of the college basketball tournament. Now, if Michigan wasn't playing, maybe I would have been more aware. But
and that was one of the knocks too, is that they're starting this season relatively late, and some of the intent of this league is supposedly to help give players opportunities to get into the NFL.
But see, that's the one thing too. Like, why not do it earlier?
Well, and that's the argument that they keep making.
Because free agency started early, I think, right?
I don't know if it started early, but I just think you can't say like we want to try to get these players onto NFL rosters, and then when NFL rosters are doing their off-season programs, that you run your season right through the middle of it.
Well, see, here's the thing. I think that they should do it a week before the college basketball conference tournaments. I don't know my math in my head, but I think that would be 2 weeks after the Super Bowl. So people would get a week to decompress or whatever. They're like, man, I wish there was a game this weekend. Then the next weekend rolls around, and you have the opening week. I think that would do big numbers there. The next week, people are going to be into sports because they're watching like their basketball team. Most teams get eliminated from the conference tournament, right? By Saturday, when the ACC championship game is, you only have 2 fan bases in. But people might watch that game. You could do a lead-in with the UFL. Hey, before you watch the ACC basketball, you can watch some football here. And then the following weekend is the NCAA tournament. Same type of thing. that opening weekend usually does great numbers. But after the first 2 days, like Thursday, Friday, there aren't that many games. And they overlap them. It makes like no sense. Because like the next week, like this week that just happened, Michigan played at like 9:50 or something like crazy. And then Purdue was playing on the other channel at the exact same time. So you have 2 games right there, like super late. And then the other games don't start till 6. And especially on Saturday, same thing happens. Like, oh, we're not going to start until 5. And it's like, okay, put a football game on at noon. Like, I'm used to big noon now. I know people hate it, but that's my thing on Saturdays. It's like, man, I really wish there was a noon game. It starts to get nice out. I have to do some yard work. I could just listen to it, watch it a little bit outside, pop a tablet outside while I'm doing some work. Right? Watch a game. And now that it's coming around, it's like, hey, we're getting back into it, but it's going to compete directly with the NCAA tournament. And I don't like that because to me, if you started earlier, I think the NFL free agency starts early in March. So you have a week or 2 to start to showcase some of these guys, and they should really let them play and sign deals, right? I mean, maybe after they sign a deal, the other team won't really want them to play anymore, so you might lose guys at the beginning of the year. And I wonder if that's the case. But you're doing the guys that I don't even know what to say. But you're doing them and in like a disservice, I guess, by putting them right now where most of the teams have already shored up free agency. And if the Steelers sign their QB or whatever, the QB market's like drying up. And now they're saying that like Shedeur Sanders might fall past Pittsburgh if they get Aaron Rodgers, which is why I brought that up earlier and I forgot to swing back to it. If you're Pittsburgh and you sign Aaron Rodgers and he tries to give you a clause like, yo, if Shedeur Sanders does fall and I sign here, you cannot draft him. I'd be like, buddy, I don't care where you're telling me. Like, you could just not show up. If a Shedeur Sanders that's like ranked as a top like quarterback in the draft, one of the top prospects like in recent times at quarterback, and I know they don't always work out, but if one of those falls to you in the 20s, that's exactly what happened to Aaron Rodgers in his career. You take it. And then if Aaron Rodgers gets injured or whatever, then you at least have hope. Now, if it ends up being, because there's some rumors that Jackson Dart's moving up, to where maybe someone takes him instead. And once you get down to guys that are rated a little bit lower, then maybe the Steelers shouldn't draft in the first round of QB. But Shedeur Sanders has been rated very high for a quarterback.
Now, if the Steelers had an opportunity to trade TJ Watt to the Titans for the number 1 overall pick, do you think they should pull the trigger on it?
I don't want to do that. I don't like doing that because there's no sure thing. Who do you take number 1? Cam Ward? Because you're not trading up to get Shedeur Sanders.
I mean, maybe that's the move.
But is Ward that much better than Sanders? He's older. So you kind of know what you're getting. If he ends up being a bust, or what if he ends up being injury prone like Tua? Or like there's a number of things that could go wrong when you're trading up from that far back with a guy that right now, TJ Watt, is your franchise. And I brought that up. I was speculating a couple weeks ago that it seems like...
They made the system work with Fields, and maybe with Ward, they can have him under a cheaper rookie contract. And
well, see, that's my thing. Like right now, it seems like they're making drastic moves because of TJ Watt. I speculated that a few weeks ago. I wonder if he's the driving force behind this, and floating him around as a trade seems, I mean, that's been rumored to be legit, right? Like, you're not making that up. I've heard that too. Which makes me think there's some smoke, or maybe there's some fire around the smoke, that TJ Watt's camp is kind of unhappy with the last couple seasons. The easiest way to fix that without breaking your locker room is just trade him away, right? Trade him away. Do what you said. If you get Aaron Rodgers though, you might get the best of both worlds. T.J. Watt might not want to leave then, and maybe that energizes him, pumps him up, right? For at least one hard year, you get one more great year from him. And if a Shedeur Sanders falls in your lap, I think to me that would be the best scenario. You don't waste your number one. You don't trade up for a number one pick. You keep T.J. Watt for a bit more. You get Aaron Rodgers, so you at least can come into the season. You already have DK Metcalf. If Aaron Rodgers brings some other receivers around to go with Pickens, man, that's a room. Plus, if Roman Wilson shows up as like a slot guy, like that could be a team that's dangerous. Or heck, just go get Antonio Brown, like I said. For a 1-year contract, if he messes up, who cares? You already have Aaron Rodgers as a 1-year contract. Right? You said about never bringing him back. It seems like Pittsburgh has this pressure that they have to win right now. Has to be coming from TJ Watt's camp. Has to be.
I think that's fair.
I mean, that's my best guess on what's happening. That it makes sense that you just don't float, hey, we could trade TJ Watt for the number one pick, unless people are already talking about it because he wants to be traded. If there's not movement. So them putting out like, yo, we're not really thinking of trading him. The owner saying like, we're good on Aaron Rodgers. We're just waiting for the ink to dry or whatever. I honestly feel like by the time this podcast launches tomorrow, we'll see Aaron Rodgers. Like, I think it might be a done deal. And then we can start talking about, all right, what help does like the defense need in the draft? And XYZ, I almost feel like at that point then, if you're not going to get a QB, I've said it before, if Kenneth Grant's still there, I think you should take Kenneth Grant from Michigan. He is a giant that you could put if the Steelers are going to play like a 3-4 type defense like they used to run in the past. I don't know if they've still used that as like their base. That's the guy you need to run that though. You need a defensive tackle that's gigantic and athletic. And that's the kind of guy that I think in the end of the first round, I'd rather have them see what's available, and that's the benefit of signing Aaron Rodgers. So, I don't know. I mean, they could go a different route. They really need another tight end. Like, what other weapons could you get? Another running back? Scadabo? You can always get him in, like, maybe the third round, though. I saw they might have Genty going, like, top 5 in one of the mocks, and I was kind of surprised by that. Because I thought, has any running back really been taken in the top 5 recently? No, not really. I know he was a beast, but like, let's be real, he was playing at Boise State. That's not a knock at Boise State. Like, some of the competition wasn't as stiff. But maybe he's fresher, though. I don't know. Because it seems like every time a young, like a running back from one of those lower conferences come in, and I'm like, dang, that guy's going to be good. It never works out for me. Like, running backs are so hard to predict. Because, like, I see a guy like Blake. I know he broke his arm last year. Smaller. In the NFL, he's quick enough to get a couple yards every play. Like, he could be a great back. Hasn't really worked out yet. I know it's only been 1 year, and like I said, he broke his arm. But Hassan Haskins from Michigan, which seemed to be more of like that college power back that you didn't see him stick around, and he was key down the stretch for the Chargers, getting a couple big touchdown runs. And I thought maybe he'll work out. I don't know. So you have some of those things, and like even like J.K. Dobbins, I thought he was going to be awesome at Ohio State. He was like so fast. Like in the NFL, you get out in space. And then he's kind of had injuries and hasn't. I mean, Harbaugh gave him a chance at the Chargers too, and like Haskins had been playing better than him, and so like that surprised me that he hasn't worked out, right? And then I think they went and got Najee Harris, right? Didn't he go to the Chargers? Who Harbaugh had him signed? Remember, that was pre-NIL. He was enrolled at Michigan, had his own dorm room. Never made it to campus. What a shame. That wouldn't happen these days, right? Been signed, still to deliver, Bo. But that there's a couple different. I think the Aaron Rodgers things for the people that are negative on it. If you get him, that opens up a lot of key scenarios that helps the franchise long term. If you don't get him and you have to throw a TJ Watt trade, like you said, you're almost imploding. Unless Cam Ward comes out and he's like, what, Daniels from last year? He's like awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you have some weapons for him. And maybe the Steelers defense doesn't drop off as much and you can have a deep playoff run and be like, wow, that was awesome. That really worked out. That's the only thing I can think of. But at this point, I kind of just want to wait for Sanders. And then in the media, you can be like, no, man, a lot of mocks had Sanders falling to us, dude. We thought we could just sneak him in there. Aaron Rodgers and Sanders, like, learn from one of the best media guys, I guess. Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be in the media anyway because you're dad. I mean, Sanders has been used to it. So I don't know which direction they go. I just don't want to see him trade TJ Watt. That rarely works out.
Yeah. I would rather them not go that route either.
Can you think of a time that has worked? Because I don't think I can. And maybe there will be some. Like, what was it when Herschel Walker, didn't he get traded from the Cowboys for like all their picks? It became like their core, like Aikman and Emmett and them.
Yeah.
But you're not doing that. You're trading your best guy for the number 1 pick.
Or maybe when you look at, well, no, I guess maybe Reggie. Well, he was a free agent. I was gonna say Reggie White, but
why not go for 2 number 1 picks then? Right, 2 first-round picks. What are the odds of like the same team being the number 1 overall pick though? So if you're the other team, you hedge that bet, thinking TJ Watt is going to be a key building piece for me. Maybe I can do that. But if you just get 1 number 1 pick for him, like I think that's iffy. They might have to do some like key maths where it's like 2 number 1s and TJ Watt and like a third, something like that.
Yeah.
But I would rather see that where you're like, all right, we're going to rebuild, baby. And we're going to do it right because we're going to have a couple first-round picks. Because first-round guys, they have the easiest or highest percentage of being impact guys. No matter what. Like, as you go down the draft, people always say, like, oh, got this guy in the 5th round. But it's like, yeah, but if you look at the percentages, the guys you get in the first round most of the time are going to be a higher hit rate. It's not like where it's like an anomaly, like in the college basketball tournament where it's like, hey, 12 seeds win like almost all the time. It's like they still win at a lower percentage. They just seem to have higher upsets more so than like the 6, what would be the lower game? 6-13 or whatever? I don't even know. 6-11, I guess. Probably because the 12 seeds are ones that are like good teams from lower conferences, like conference winners or whatever. It just must be the way they seed them. Right? The NFL draft isn't like that. You pick a guy whatever you want. I mean, they could go crazy and pick like some guy someone's never heard of with the overall number 1 pick. Fans would probably have a riot at the NFL draft party, though. Right? But I think they put out that Cam Ward is going to be the number 1 guy. Did they not?
I mean, I almost feel like if you're drafting number 1, that almost seems to be the move to go to.
I think they said that he was the guy that they were leaning towards. But I don't know. Anything else with the NFL you want to talk about?
No.
Yeah, I don't even know where we're at. So, and like I said, it might not be that long of a show. But the other thing I want to talk about quick was the NCAA basketball tournament. I've been arguing with a buddy of mine about like the NIL stuff because the Big Ten ended up choking, and like credit to Michigan and even Michigan State, close, right? Michigan had a 9-point lead on Auburn, and it just seemed like Michigan didn't have the depth this year. So it hurt him in almost the Big Ten tournament, hurt him down the stretch in the Big Ten regular season play, where once guys played a bunch of games in a row and got a little bit tired, they had like a 9-point lead, and then shots just stopped falling, and they didn't have a guy to come in off the bench like Auburn had that hit a bunch of threes. Like when he started hitting threes, the guy, like the fifth man or whatever he was, sixth man, I thought, this is over. Like I want our guys to kind of calm down, but just not there yet with the first year coach. But with NIL, you can have a great year like that in year one. Like it's been a long time. Like they said, the Big Ten, like I think Dusty May was the first coach to win the Big Ten tournament in his first year. He's like, only a handful of coaches have made the Sweet 16 in their first year, right? And with NIL, I wonder, like, is it going to be like worth it? Because the SEC model, right now, they went with old coaches, right? I think we talked about this last week. I think I brought it in where they said that ESPN had kind of advised them to like, yo, you need like Hall of Fame coaches, which was my argument. Like, how do you know the guy's a Hall of Fame? He's still coaching, right? Putting like Tom Izzo in the Hall of Fame while he's coaching right now just seems weird. Like it builds like a good old boys network. And I don't like it. Like I like how the NFL, you retire, then you make the Hall of Fame. You shouldn't have guys, and maybe they are just saying that on TV, but like they're talking like these guys are all Hall of Famers that are coaching, and it seems like they get favorable calls, which is outrageous. But when you have a team like Alabama that is 100% built on NIL, built to win now, get stomped by Duke by 20, and it wasn't even close. Like, that's when I was, like, proud of my boys. Like, well, we didn't get stomped like that. Right? But it doesn't matter. Like, SEC can throw all this money. They're still splitting money with football. Do you think Duke is really throwing money at football? Hell no. They don't really care about that, do they? And I
don't think that's one of the few places that I feel like they don't have to throw football. They don't have to throw money at it because their basketball is so solid and nationally recognized that I think that it could potentially carry.
And that's the one thing where I keep hearing like things heating up with the Big Ten, and like and I keep saying like it's not going to happen. They're not going to take Duke and UNC. And then I watch a tournament here, and it's like, what's Big Ten missing? They don't have a basketball powerhouse that can win. Like the teams that they have that are considered like what? The Blue Bloods, Michigan State and Indiana, haven't won anything. Right? Michigan State's in like a drought since 2000. They're like the Ohio State of the Big Ten football, where it's like, hey, they're always there. Are they ever winning? Nah, not really. But it's like they're there, and the perception of the Big Ten goes down because of them. And then Indiana just hasn't even been there. They're like the Nebraska of Big Ten basketball, where it's like, hey, we have that Hoosiers movie. Oh, let's pop that in, baby, instead of watching the tournament this year. Because it's like, I see like Michigan battling for recruits with Indiana, and we're winning like every time. And I thought, they're never going to be back. Like, Michigan should not be taking recruits that are like between Michigan and Indiana. Should not just be able to like take our pick of their guys, right? Guys that are in the state. Like, I think Michigan had like a couple Mr. Indiana basketball players on their roster recently. Like, that would never happen. Like, could you imagine if like Indiana took like Mr. Michigan football? Like, no, that wouldn't happen. It's going to be a battle between Michigan and Ohio State, most likely. Right? Same with like Mr. Ohio. Like, Michigan can nab a couple of them and see what happens. So, I don't know. But that's the one thing where if basketball exposure is good for the conference, ACC being down, it's not going to matter if Duke wins at all. The question comes down to, does Duke winning it all, if they can pull it off, does that elevate the ACC? Because it almost feels like it's like a Big East thing, where Villanova wins a national championship, then they win another one, and people aren't respecting the Big East more. They're just saying like, oh, Villanova has a great coach. Like the narrative changes where it's like, Duke is a great program. They're not saying like the ACC is great. Duke is great anymore. Like they haven't talked great about ACC basketball. All we keep hearing is the SEC. They might not win at all. Houston dismantled Tennessee. Florida dismantled, Duke dismantled Alabama. So then we have what? Florida back, and they play. See, I don't even know what the Final Four is. Like, which teams play which teams, which could mess up the matchup. I think it's 2 SEC teams, right? Isn't it Florida versus Auburn? Yeah, and then Houston versus Duke. So that's where it really comes down to. Now we get the perception that the SEC is going to be one of the top conferences where if you split it and said like, hey, one of those teams is playing Duke and one of those teams is playing Houston, we could very easily have had a Houston-Duke national championship game. I don't know if the SEC is going to get it done, but you at least like to have the chance of getting there and winning it. Because I don't think the SEC has won it since maybe Florida back in the day. Oh, no, Kentucky won one. I keep forgetting they have a Kentucky. Like, the Big Ten doesn't have a Kentucky right now. Indiana's supposed to be the Big Ten's Kentucky, and they're not it. Even, I don't know if you brought up pre-show or post, like, while we're on the show about Calipari being at Arkansas and picking them for your bracket because he complained about not having the NIL resources there. So, in theory, yeah, him making a run with Arkansas makes sense to any like person that follows basketball and him talking about it. But like even like the Big Ten brings in Maryland, their coach is leaving, I think, for Villanova, and on the way out, he's going scorched earth complaining about how he hasn't had funding, how their facilities are a joke, and like that's supposed to be a basketball school. They made the Sweet 16, bro. I compared it. I thought, well, they had to have been in the Sweet 16 before, at least the Elite Eight. I don't think they've gone past the Sweet 16 in like since their national championship in like 2000 or whatever that was. Like the past whatever many years, they've made like 2 Sweet 16s. That's it since joining the Big Ten. Michigan has 3 Sweet 16s the past 6 years, I think they said. Like that is what I would expect more from Maryland. Michigan should not be having more Sweet 16s than a school that is 100% mainly focused on basketball. Maryland's not competing in football. And that's okay. Like, that's why I'm wondering, like, is the Duke UNC thing for real? Could that just be the Big Ten saying, like, look, we like being good in all sports. That's why we added the Pac-12 schools. Now we get Duke and UNC. And then, boom. We're going to own football TV. We're now going to own basketball TV. Because even like outside, like you put a Duke Michigan State game on or UNC Michigan, those draw big numbers in basketball. Just because of the history, right? So you bring some of those in, even Duke Michigan, that's always like one of the highest rated games when they end up playing in the Big Ten tournament or whatever that was, Big Ten ACC Challenge. So you have a couple of schools come in that have history with like Indiana, even if Indiana's not back, a Duke-Indiana game is going to be big-time TV. Is it worth it to put that chink in the ACC armor and try to get Notre Dame to kind of come across? Because I was wondering, like with the Big East being good at basketball, Notre Dame could just stay with the Catholic schools and stay independent and just tell the ACC, like, we're done. We don't want to be here. I don't know if they would do that, but
I mean, they're definitely snobby enough that they would definitely do it.
I think they would do it if they could have their pick of other other sports. Like I think if right now they're kind of like in the Big Ten hockey, and they have a couple other things that are like floating around out there. If they could just be in the Big East for everything and then like win it consistently, I just don't think they could compete basketball-wise. They can't really compete in the ACC either. But do you want to go to another conference where you're not really competing in anything that has lower visibility? Because like right now, you got to be like real. ACC is one of the higher like visibility conferences. I'm not I'm not joking around with you. Like it just happens that their schools just haven't been good in football, and unfortunately, football brings in the money. If Clemson would have stayed hot and like went on a run, like didn't Nick Saban and Alabama win like 6 national championships? If that would have been Dabo at Clemson instead, and ESPN's like, all right, well, we got to keep diverting money to Clemson right now because they're killing it, and we don't want them to join the SEC because of reasons, right? What if they fall off? What if they don't compete there? Like Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, they haven't been winning anything for 20 years. They needed a change of scenery, right? Like, that's the difference between Florida State and Clemson. They've been competing. Oklahoma and Texas haven't been competing. They get in the big time games and they're getting slaughtered. Like, they're getting beat down. Like, Ohio State took Texas by 2 scores this past year in the SEC. So, Texas coming in and being like, look, we're going to recruit. We're going to pay for all these recruits. The coach has to get the job done, though. He can't be tentatively out there like Ryan Day running a shotgun from the goal line, doing a bunch of other weird stuff. You can't Ryan Day it up. You got to be broken. You got to be broken Ryan Day. Where you're like, I can't beat my rival. I'm going to lose my job. I better just start throwing the Jeremiah Smith like everyone's telling me to do. Oh my God, it's working. Morgan's not even covering him. What are they doing? Must be drunk over there. This is great. They win the national championship. Like that's what Texas needs to do, and I don't think Sarkisian could do it. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find out when is the championship game. Is it going to be next Monday, I think? So we'll have, by the next show, yeah, we'll find out if the SEC can get it done, or heck, honestly, if Duke can't get it done, I would like to see Houston win it. Because they're another conference. I think on one side, you have the 2 conferences that people are undervaluing. Duke and Houston in the Big 12 now. People were knocking them forever. It would be hilarious if they come into the Big 12 and they win a national championship, while schools like West Virginia and like Pitt had been saying for years, like, oh, Houston's not good enough to join our Big East. Blah, 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 right? It's like, where's your guys' national championship? Right? Because I think that's what it will take. Now, if Houston doesn't win it all and they're like, oh, well, they're runners up again or whatever, it doesn't hit as hard as like, hey, they're national champs now. And, I mean, it's going to be hard to take Florida or Auburn down just because of the depth. That's the one thing that NIL can get you if you're there for a couple of years. Because Auburn was in the Final Four a couple of years ago. They're back. Now they have the depth with the freshmen off the bench and stuff like that. Guys, like they've hit on recruiting. You got to do both. You got to do portal and hit on freshmen coming in. Florida, same boat. I still don't know how their coach got off scot-free emailing females on campus, right? That's insane to me. Like that, to me, they went after Stallions for like his scheme of stealing signals. I think inappropriate contact with other university employees is like the most egregious thing, right?
Yeah.
So then for him to be like, I didn't know that they didn't want me to aggressively hit on them. Oh, I've been like, shouldn't you be? Because that's the same thing the Celtics went through, remember? They had like their coach was doing inappropriate contact and then they canned him and then the other guy won the championship. I'm pretty sure that he got canned, right? So it's like, do the same thing, Florida. Can him, move on, let him resurrect his career at like Louisville or somewhere else shady. But come on. So like people were saying, I want to root for Florida. That's a good story. I'm like, is it? What's good about it? Right? You can aggressively hit on people in Florida, want it or not. As long as you're winning games, baby. Urban Meyer's like, whoa, you guys want me back? I didn't know. Went to Jacksonville, kicking players, got in trouble there. Ohio State got in trouble. Getting weird things or shipped to the office on the company card. I had to sign off on. Like ball lifters. Like it's still that's the craziest part of that story to me. It's like he was signing off on that stuff. He's like, huh? Well, I didn't know. But heck, if he comes back to Florida with the NIL game, that could be a serious lift for their program. Would they do it is the question, or would he do it? I don't know. Because how many times has a coach gone back and it's worked? Not that much. I feel like there are a couple of times it might have worked, right? Did Bill Snyder come back? Wasn't he one of them at Kansas State? I thought he left for a bit and then came back. That's probably the biggest one, I think. But yeah, I wonder if Urban Meyer had to bring him in. It's offseason, dude. I haven't talked about him for a long time. He's still young in coaching terms. When I watch Bruce Pearl, old man Bruce Pearl hobble around out there yelling, I think, man, Urban could be doing this. Recruiting, NIL, that seems like his game. Not that I want him back. My luck, he would come back at Ohio State, randomly. Hey, guess who's back? Turn the tide on the rivalry back, and then it would be insane. So he can go back to Florida, though. I don't care if Florida's okay. I know you don't want that, but hey, what if Florida State's in the Big Ten by then? Then it wouldn't matter until the SEC Big Ten Challenge when you guys play Florida every year. We'll take on Kentucky or someone. Give us a northern school. No, you would get Alabama. You know that they'd give us the hardest. Well, who's number one? Texas, Alabama. That's who Michigan got. Who's Ohio State get? Oh, they got Kentucky, bro. The border. You got to give him. Now Vanderbilt, maybe. It's a tough call on who to give Ohio State in their game. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. I'm someone's hey, Ohio State still runs the Big Ten. I'm the conference they haven't won in 5 years? That conference, they're running it because it could have fooled me. They didn't make the championship game last year. They lucked out in the playoffs, playing 2 SEC schools, but they didn't win the Big Ten. Were you not paying attention? You could just print the shirts, Matt, and then that's how people won't even know. They won't fact check you. The Florida State just made best team in Florida shirts. They could be, they might not be. No one would know. Recruits would just start to think that. That's what they should do. You should get a group of Florida State fans to put out billboards all across the state best team in Florida or best football program in Florida. With Chief Osceola throwing the spear down.
Yep, I like it.
And then all the recruits in Florida, though, they're dang, that is the best school for me. Right around Disney, take UCF's wind out of their sails. Gainesville, down in Miami. People even read in Miami. I don't know. You're down there, so you got to keep an eye out. But I think that's all I have. Anything else you want to talk about today, or you want to add in on the college stuff? How's your bracket? You busted?
I'm not busted yet. We'll see how it goes after this weekend because I went all in on the Cougs.
To win it all.
Yep.
I have Duke.
Because I just felt everyone's going to pick Duke or Auburn. Charles Barkley's going to be riding high if they pull it out.
The Auburn, I wasn't really... I know they were the overall number 1 seed, and this tournament has been all the top seeds have been winning, which I think is why my bracket didn't do as well, and why I still have a team in there. Because I pick a top seed to win it all. One of the top, 2, depending on who I think is playing the best. And I thought Duke was playing the best coming in the tournament, and recently they've been killing it. I think Houston was playing really well. So right now, I think the teams that have been playing the best are Houston and Duke. Florida and Auburn both could have lost. And heck, Florida should have lost to Texas Tech if they didn't mess around. So my prediction right now is the Duke-Auburn National Championship. What do you have?
I have Auburn and Houston.
So we both think Auburn will go. And then I don't think the SEC wins it, honestly. I think it'll either be Duke or Houston, whoever wins that game. Which means I'll probably be wrong. And I'll have a bunch of SEC fans attacking me, sending me stats about SEC basketball and how they're going to be good. It's like, all right. You can't tell me you're good at basketball after no national championships, but the Big Ten wins 2 in football, and the Big Ten still isn't good.
Well, I did think Florida, as much as I didn't want to see it happen, I thought Florida was going to have a chance of being good when they were signing those 9-foot-tall players.
That's what helped Michigan. We had 2 7-footers this year.
Like, that cracks me up. Like, I love watching the videos of, like, the 13-year-olds are playing AAU, and it's like, it looks like me playing against my kids. And they're just like, oh, I'm just going to lay it right in.
Well, that's why I see people are like, yeah, you got to get on these kids, like, early. But then a lot of them don't end up growing anymore. They try to get, like, the doctor to be like, oh, he's going to grow to this much foot. And then they don't. Because I think, was it Karis LeVert? I think he was one of the Mr. Indiana basketballs. I could be wrong, so sorry, Karis, if I got that wrong. When he came to Michigan, they thought he was done growing, right? So he wasn't a big-time recruit. He was like 6'4". I thought he grew to like 6'7" or 6'8". And so then he ended up balling out because he ended up growing more. And I wonder how many players that happens to, right? You're like, hey, you're awesome, but you're just undersized. You get on campus and you hit a growth spurt, and you're like, oh. Because like you're graduating early at 17 or something. You're not done growing. You just hope they don't get hurt when they're growing out, like a knee injury or something. So I still think that is key, though. Like Florida having those big guys, like that's not a coincidence. I've said that before. Purdue's made a living off that. They just can't do it in the tournament because coaching? I don't know what their problem is. I mean, they made it tough against Houston for a bit. And then I was already out when Michigan started to fade. So I'm like, that's it. I don't need to be watching too much basketball. Bring on the UFL or whatever. Maybe I'll watch that this weekend. But anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up?
Nope, that's about it.
All right, well, thanks for listening. Still in the off season, so shows might be a little bit in and out. Big shout out to our boys in France downloading the show, getting us on the top charts on iTunes, which is crazy because we've been on a couple of European. I remember Ireland we were ranked once, and a couple other ones. I can't remember off the top of my head where they were. But France is a new one. I'm pretty sure we've never been ranked in France before. So they must love Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they have. Wouldn't it be funny if they had another soccer player named Aaron Rodgers and people were like, what the heck's he up to? That'd make my day. But yeah, shout out to them. Anything you want us to talk about, let us know. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next week.